What is going on, everybody on YouTube? Justin here with Arch City Studios, and today's video is going to be a little bit different. I am actually going to be comparing basically the same flight on different airlines, all out of the same airport to the same destination on the same dates. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 major airlines here that we're going to be comparing. Two of them are considered low-cost carriers, and the others are basically major players in the game. And then there's a bonus airline at the end that I'm not including in the main video because they actually don't fly out of the initial airport yet, but they're beginning that service in June. So I want to definitely go ahead and cover them as well and get everything compared here. The one that you're seeing on your screen right now is actually Sun Country. That's where we're going last because they don't have service from St. Louis to Denver yet. But just to give you a rundown of what we're doing St. Louis to Denver, Colorado. The departure date is going to be January 11th with a return on January 15th. We're going to try to do a morning flight going and an evening flight on the return. However, if there's a major price difference, we'll just choose the lowest. And we'll kind of compare the costs and what's included in that fare in order to give you an idea. So let me go ahead and get one other thing pulled up here, and that is a calculator because there's a couple of these airlines where we're going to need it to compare some of the fares. So I have that ready to go. For those of you that don't know, my day job before this whole crazy pandemic was as a travel agent, something I'm very passionate about, and I really want to try to help you guys get the best amount of bang for your buck when it comes to travel. Another way that I try to do that is with my podcast weekly. It is called Unknown Destination, and you can listen to it anywhere that you can find your podcasts. I will definitely put a link to that in the description down below, because if you want travel tips, that is a great resource. It's me and my buddy Andrew, and we definitely have a lot of knowledge when it comes to the travel industry, so I think it may be valuable to you if you're someone that's interested in travel, or even somebody that's interested in saving money, because we do talk about ways to budget your travel. So we are going to start with a low-cost carrier that has a mixed reputation, and that is Frontier. So it looks like my session's expired, and that's fine. We'll start it straight from scratch. So as you can see, we're leaving out of STL. That is St. Louis. So we'll pull that up there. And our destination is going to be Denver, Colorado. Like I said, our departure date is consistently going to be the 11th of January with a return on the 15th. And we're just going to do this for one adult. So let's go ahead and hit search. Now, you may find different fares if you're booking through sites like Expedia, and if you're booking through a travel agent, they may have negotiated rates they can offer you. Not going to be the case with Frontier, though, because their prices are their prices. You're not going to find them for less elsewhere. Okay, so it looks like we only have one flight choice, and that is at 11:25 a.m., getting into Denver at 12:53 p.m., so good time there. It is a direct nonstop flight, which is wonderful. What you can see here is you can either get a standard ticket at $47, or you can get $42 if you are a Discount Den member. Basically, Discount Den just gives you a lower fare thing, and you get savings for the entire year, but it does allow your kids to fly free on certain dates and flights, so if you're a family, that definitely does pay off. As far as a free personal item, you're getting that on every flight of theirs anyway. You're always going to have to pay for a carrier check-on bag. You're always going to have the option to purchase a seat assignment, and you get a mile for every mile flown, basically, no matter what. So really, the biggest benefit here is that you save a little bit. In this case, though, it's only, $5 possibly per direction. We'll see. But that kids fly free can be a major benefit. Now, I will say I have never seen it where kids fly free both directions. It'll either be on your outbound or your return. So that is what it is. It's $59.99 a year, though, and if you're booking, that kids fly free can apply to your entire family, and you can get your entire family that rate. So you can save a lot of money if you're traveling on Frontier a lot during the year. As far as on-time ratings and stuff, honestly, Frontier is up there with the best of them. They're pretty consistent. Seats a little bit less comfortable, and you do have to pay for your seat assignment, but we'll go over that a little bit more. So since I am not a Discount Den member at the moment, I'm going to choose the $47 flight on the departure, and we will hit continue here, and we will see what our return flight options are. Okay, so in this case, there's a little bit of a disadvantage. Our return flight, the only one available, is at 7:35 a.m. Obviously, because of COVID-19, flight schedules are cut back a little, but it's not uncommon for Frontier to only have one or two of those flights a day. I apologize if I'm squinting. This one light is really bright in my eyes. Sorry if I It turns out it's not even that one that's bothering me. It's this one. You know what? You guys don't need to see my face as much as you need to see the screen. So I'm going to get that out of my eyes, and we'll just deal with it. Okay, so looks like we have a same price on the departure there. So $47 at a 7:35 a.m. flight, nonstop. So that's a big advantage. Gets you back in at 10:37. So looks like the round trip total, that's actually round trip at $47. So each way, $23.10. The round trip total to go to Denver, Colorado is $46.20. That is absolutely insane and makes me want to travel, but I will not travel right now because of different travel restrictions, and I just think it's not a great idea. But man, does that make it tempting, because that is inexpensive. Okay, so we're going to hit continue, though, and show you what the fare can do and the pricing that can change. So I am going to have to put some actual information in here. So we're just going to say Scott Knott is a guy that was born in 1984. And we'll hit continue here. Oh, we got to put a phone number and email address in. JJ at J. And I'm just making this stuff up, guys. This isn't anybody's actual information. I just want to get through the process to show you where the ticket can be, the least you can pay, and the most you can pay. So, right now we're at $46.20. That is already including all taxes and fees. It actually means that Frontier themselves are getting very little of this ticket. The majority of it is taxes and fees. So here are our options. We can either pay $50 per passenger per direction to add the perks. Let's see what that gets us. That already includes a personal item. It does include a carry-on bag. It includes a checked bag. And it includes a seat selection. So for $146.20, we can go round trip and have our seats assigned and have bags with us if we want to. As far as the works bundle, $150 per passenger per direction. Let's see what the difference is here. You do also get Zone 1 boarding if you're booking through the perks. They do board in different zones. However, your seats are generally assigned, so that's not as huge of an advantage. Flight flexibility. So being able to change your flights without change fees is a pretty big advantage. Usually change fees are around $200 anytime you do, plus the fare difference. And if we pay the $150, this is refundable, but that does make the ticket $346.20. So what we are going to do is we are going to continue and customize without any of that and see how much it would cost us. So as you can see on Frontier, seat assignments cost a variety of prices. The further towards the front of the plane you are, the more you tend to pay. These seats are actually slightly larger seats with quite a bit more padding on them. I will say Frontier seats aren't the most comfortable. And then you have exit rows and seats with extra leg room that are a little bit more expensive. But for sake of argument, we're trying to keep this as low as possible. So let's say we don't care what seat we get on the flight. We can actually go through and book this ticket for $46.20, and they'll just assign seats to us at check-in, and we're good to go. You do risk getting a middle seat, but it looks like this flight's pretty open, so I would feel comfortable risking it. But if you don't want to do that, you can always grab the least expensive, and that's what we'll do here just to push through as an example. And then this would be our return flight from Denver. We're also going to choose the least expensive seat at $10. I don't need the extra legroom necessarily, although I'm a big guy and do prefer it. This is where we can get expensive. So we're at $66.20. We can carry a personal item. If it's just you traveling and you're able to travel with just a backpack, again, I recommend booking that ticket at $46.20 and going round trip. As far as if we want to carry on, it's $37 each direction. If you want a checked bag, also $37 each direction. So we're just going to choose one carry-on, but I would assume most people would make a choice between one or the other in that case. So we'll do that. That's going to add $74. Flight flexibility, I don't necessarily recommend adding unless you think you're going to need it. So basically, this exact same flight has 3 different price points. The absolute lowest round trip is $46.20. The next one up would be $66.20, and then if you absolutely need to bring a bag, whether it's one checked or one carry-on, you're at $140.20. So those are your 3 options with Frontier. My guess is that's by far going to be the lowest flight, especially at $46.20. But let's see if we can't jump on over to an airline that includes 2 checked bags and a carry-on and get something close to this same $140.20. So our next flight's going to be Southwest, the next discount airline in a row here. We are going to choose the nonstop flight at 9 a.m., getting in at 10:25 for $49 in one direction. And then on our return, we're going to choose the lowest we can find that's a nonstop. And it looks like that is going to be in the afternoon. We will go ahead and choose the latest one so we can spend as much time out of town as we would like at $84 for that direction. So $132.96. So if you are someone that is traveling with luggage, it's going to be more beneficial to you to fly on Southwest, because for about $4 less, you're actually getting 2 checked bags and a carry-on included, plus that personal item that you're going to get on all the airlines anyway. So that's great if you're traveling with luggage. If you're somebody that doesn't, go Frontier. Southwest, you do not get a seat assignment. You can pay for early bird check-in, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. I would just say 24 hours before your flight, be on their website to hit that check-in button, and you'll get assigned a board for zoning. Southwest does not assign seats, so it will be whatever's available, but I do find their seats to be more comfortable than most airlines. And if you're willing to risk not getting the exact seat you want, that's a way to go. Obviously, in these cases, you do always risk being in a middle seat, but I've never personally had it happen, so hopefully you'll be all right. All right, let's jump on to the big guys. We are going to start with American. So with American, the first thing that you will notice out of St. Louis is they do not have direct flights to Denver, Colorado. But we are trying to stay at the lowest budget here, so let's stay at the lowest. 5:44 a.m. flight. This one looks like it changes planes in Dallas-Fort Worth, so you're going south to go west. You have a layover there, and then you get into Denver at 9:50 a.m. We will choose that one, round trip. It says $135 for that flight. And then let's let this load, and we will choose our return, and we will compare it to the other two and see how much more American really is. Loading. American's website is not the fastest. If it keeps taking forever, I'll jump over to another airline real quick. Our system is having trouble. You know what? It could be because I had already put information in there. So let's try this again. STL to Denver. Number of passengers 1. January 11th. Returning on January 15th. Search. Okay, there we go. So same flight, we'll choose that one at $135. It did look like there might have been one at $105 lower on there, but we'll see what happens. So we chose that. So as far as our return, looks like I'm not necessarily seeing anything low in the afternoon. American's website is honestly one of the more confusing ones to read with flights, and they have so many because of all their connections. So I'm not going to go to the effort to necessarily find one in the evening if I know 135 is the lowest that I can get. We will just grab whichever one we see. Here's one, 135. Actually, I want to keep looking. That one has a very long layover, and I don't think that's a fair comparison. Wow, 8-hour flights. Okay, so the return that we chose there is at 12:31 p.m., getting back into 6:20. I believe that was a 137. Yeah, we'll just see. This one's 176 per person. I don't know how I chose that flight, though, and that's what's crazy about this website. Let me go back here. I apologize, but I don't want to cut any of this out because I want to show you. I'm an experienced travel agent. Now, obviously, we don't book flights on the internet, but I don't know what I clicked that caused that. So Denver to STL, let's go ahead and just choose one of these that does say 137. This one, again, has a connection in Dallas. It'll be within $2 of the lowest flight. So $137 per person for a round trip ticket. That's actually not bad. Looks like this one has no change fees. You are allowed to choose your seat. You have general boarding. I'm trying to see if this includes any bags. Here we go. Looks like this cabin does allow you a carry-on bag and a personal item. So in this particular case, $137 is a good deal. Let's continue. And if you look at that, they were actually rounding it up. The total is $136.20, which is only $4 more than Southwest, and it includes a carry-on bag for you. Now, you are going to have fees if you need a checked-in bag, but I'm surprised at this deal. Normally, you're not going to see American as close in price, and I'm thinking that might be directly related to airlines lowering their fares right now because of COVID, but that's really not a bad deal. So props to American for this flight. I am thoroughly impressed. You are going to have long layovers and go through Dallas, but if that's not something you mind, great deal. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to the next big carrier, and that is United. I will say a lot of airlines have basic economy, but I've noticed that the basic economy fares aren't available on some of them right now. Again, because of COVID, they're wanting to get people on, so they're offering to allow you to fly and get, that seat assignment and that check-on bag for free when they may not normally. But the goal right here is to compare it right now, so let's see what we can do. This is January 11th through the 15th, St. Louis to Denver, economy class, lowest available fare. All airlines just means code share flights are going to be showing up. So if they have like a partnership with a regional carrier, that'll show up. Let's see how much their flight is. All right, so as we wait for that to load, looks like we're seeing some really good deals, actually. So it looks like United has a flight at 8:37 a.m., arriving into Denver at 10:20 a.m., operated by SkyWest, doing business as United Express. This is basic economy. So here's what the difference is. Basic economy is very restrictive in the sense of you don't get a seat that you get to choose. Your seat is chosen at check-in. You're not guaranteed to sit with your family. You're not allowed to bring a carry-on board, and you don't get your full rewards. Basically, you don't get any rewards. That's with basic economy at $97, whereas economy is at $167. So we're looking at about a $70 difference if you want an actual seat assignment and to bring a bag on. But I want to compare this to the lowest cost carrier, so we are going to stick with basic economy. And they've done much better at making sure on this website that you know that you're booking basic economy. So let me grab that. And then as far as a return, I said we wanted as late in the day as possible. But again, Frontier's flights were forcing us to go in the morning, so it's only fair that I use the lowest one I can find. And actually, this isn't bad. 1:52 p.m., so 2 o'clock in the afternoon, getting back in at 4:56. Another one operated by SkyWest, doing business as United Express at $97. So what I have learned here is that as of right now, $96.20 is what you would be paying for a round-trip basic economy ticket, or $167 if you wanted to be round-trip going without that. So in this particular case, you still get a personal item, so that's great. Other than that, their bags are actually only $25, so there's a little bit of an advantage there to some of the other carriers. But $96.20 is without a seat assignment. With this American flight, you are getting a seat assignment. If you wanted that on United, you're at $167. So even though that $96.20 price is lower, other than Frontier, we're really looking at the most expensive airline here when you compare the services that you're getting to what's available. So the next one that I'm going to book or look into is Delta. And to be 100% honest with you, if you listen to our podcast, Unknown Destination, you'll know that Andrew and I have a very positive view of Delta. I have never had a negative experience on their airline, and obviously that may change person to person. However, they're based out of Atlanta, so flying from St. Louis to Denver, we may actually see slightly higher prices, but I'm not sure. So let's look into it. Best fares for, we are going to allow basic economy, and we will just compare the two flights that we get. I will say all of these fares are insanely low right now. From St. Louis to Denver, you'd normally be looking at tickets between the $250 to $350 range. On the major carriers, Frontier, you'd be looking about $150. So definitely affected by COVID, just wanting to get people out on the airline. So let's see what we can do. Definitely higher prices on Delta in this case. So we will choose the lowest. Looks like it's a 12:49 p.m. flight with an hour layover. Ironically, also operated by SkyWest, but doing business as Delta Connection. Layover in Minneapolis gets you into Denver at 4:39. So we will grab that. And as you can see, for $70 more. So again, consistently $70 more to get those seat assignments and those carry-on bags. Keep in mind in this basic economy, though, you are still able to bring one personal item. So if you can travel with a backpack and you don't care about a seat assignment, it's the way to go. So we are going to accept the restrictions and continue with basic economy because we're trying to find the lowest price. And then as far as the return, a 4:35 p.m. flight with a layover in Atlanta. So you're actually going past Missouri and further south just to come back to St. Louis at 10:52. So, in this case, it's just because the airline doesn't necessarily have the best routing for this trip. Because of that, we're seeing a higher price at $191.20. As you can see, this is marked as a red-eye flight. I'm not really sure why, because I don't consider a flight that gets in at 10:52 p.m. a red-eye, but I guess they do. But for $70 more, we could upgrade that to economy. So actually, at this point, Delta is significantly higher than the rest. So the next thing I'm going to move over to is Alaska Airlines. However, they don't fly that many flights out of St. Louis, so we're going to see what's actually available or if they're code shares that are operated by the other airlines. I anticipate them to be slightly more expensive. Let's see. Actually, they may not be. So it looks like the lowest price we are seeing. Wow, a lot of these flights have two connections and require you to be on two airlines. So we are going to go with the one with the least amount of connections. So that's this 2:10 p.m. flight with a connection in Seattle. So you are going past Colorado. But then you get into Denver at 9:39 p.m. This is their saver fare, so it is the most restricted. As you can see, for about $60 more, you're going to get that seat assignment and stuff. The saver fare, generally not going to include that. Looks like seat selection says it is limited, so you may still be able to choose a seat, but it's going to depend on what's available on that flight. Boarding and overhead bin access is last. You don't get as many benefits, and your flight change is crazy. $60 round trip to get to that main cabin, but we're comparing the lowest fares, so we will grab the right one there. And then as far as the return, we will do the same thing. We'll grab the latest one, 6:35 p.m. through Seattle. This is a true red-eye. In fact, you are, no matter what you do, you are spending the night in Seattle. So you know what? Let's actually take this first one so we can at least enjoy a day in Seattle and leave the airport and come back. So let's pull this one up. Price for one passenger. So in this case, those prices were per direction at $141 for your saver fare. So you are looking at $281, by far the most expensive. So somehow we accidentally kind of did this in order. Most expensive is Alaska. Delta comes in second. United, I believe, $96.20 and then plus the $70. United, it kind of depends on if you're doing the bags or not. They're pretty close. American, $136.20. Again, that is a fare that actually did include a carry-on bag and seats. Southwest, 2 checked-in bags, a carry-on, but no seat assignments, $132.96. And Frontier, my session is timed out, but the insane thing about that, $46 for a round-trip flight to go to Denver. That's nuts. So that is that. We are going to pop over here and start a new search on Sun Country. This one is not going to be as easy to compare because they don't offer the service yet. But let's go ahead and see what we can find. So it's going to give us the earliest dates available. So we'll just choose the 13th, returning. No, the 13th is your departure. Their website, there we go. Return the 16th. So as you can see, the days you can return are limited, but let's see how much their flight is for one traveler in June just to see what it looks like. So we're looking at $131. This is a 9:30 a.m. flight with a plane change in Minneapolis-St. Paul, getting into Denver at 4:08 p.m. We will grab that. And then returning 6:40 p.m. Crazy flight time there, 12 hours and 50 minutes, but it's because you're spending the night in Minneapolis with an extended layover. So your total is $261.20. The crazy part is at that $261.20, the bag fees could still apply. It depends on your ticket. Let's see. It looks like if you can do an underseat item for free if you're booking it right away. So you may be able to get away with that, actually. Just not an item that fits in an overhead bin. More likely a personal item, but we're looking at $261.20 for that flight. Definitely a little higher, but my guess would be that it has to do with the dates. A lot of these other airlines aren't going to have their schedules out till then, but let's do at least one other one to compare, and then we will wrap it up there. So this is St. Louis to Denver, and what dates did we have here? I think it was June 13th through the 16th. So that's what I'm going to do with 13th to June 16th. And I'm willing to bet we are going to see a major price increase on American by June because they're hoping things will be back to normal and people will be able to travel more. But I could be wrong. But I'm not. So we are going to choose the lowest flight available for that day, which is somewhere here. It said $377 at the top. One seat left at that price, but $377. We went from $136 to $377. So we will grab that, and then obviously we need to grab the lowest one coming back as well. $377. This does say no change fees on this flight. That's great. Normally you'd pay a $200 domestic change fee. My guess is, again, that's a policy that's there because of COVID right now, though. Choose your seat at no charge. That's great. General boarding includes taxes and carry and post fees, but no bag. And I could have been wrong. Maybe the first one didn't include a bag, but you do get a personal item. As far as bag fees, yeah, you're allowed to carry on bag and a personal item in all cabins. As far as needing an additional carry-on or a checked bag, let's see here. I don't actually see a bag now. All of this can change if you have status with these airlines and travel a lot, but if that's you and you travel a lot and have status, this video probably isn't going to apply to you as much either. Yeah, it looks like the charges are basically based on where you're at, and they can change quite a bit, and they're changing right now because of COVID, so I don't want to dive too deep into that, but same exact trip, same exact airports, almost $300 more if you go in June compared to January. I'm not going to tell you how to travel. As a travel agent, I don't recommend traveling right now, but as you can see, it's insanely inexpensive, so do what you got to do. If you need to travel, use this to your ability. But that's what I wanted to give you guys, a comparison of these airlines. Like I said, if you want more travel tips, definitely subscribe to our podcast, and I hope to see you guys over there. But I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.